All right, boys and girls, so we do not have a math meeting today because we are having picture day. So I know that at 2 o'clock, several students will be arriving to have their picture taken. And my goal is to be in that front lobby passing out some materials to students who will remain as e-learners. So you're watching this video today instead. So you were introduced to comparisons, and we know that to compare means to look at two different people, two different things, and tell how they are different. So when we're talking about math problems, we are comparing two things, and typically we're writing an equation. So let's look at the first example together. Question number 4 reads, Katie has 6 times as many nickels as Sean. Right away in my brain, I'm thinking, I am comparing the number of nickels that Katie has to the number of nickels that Sean has. That's what's being compared here. So the second step in my brain is to think about, well, who has more? Well, clearly Katie has more because she has 6 times as many as Sean. Now, the other piece of information that they told us is how many nickels Sean has. Sean has 18 nickels. So right away, I'm thinking of a multiplication problem here. I'm thinking of 6 times 18. Katie has 6 times as many as Sean. And that could be the unknown. But now let's look at the second part of this question. Let n equal the number of nickels Katie has. So basically that's a variable we're plugging in there to represent an unknown amount. So again, n is going to represent the number that Katie has. So n is, and this is a little bit tricky, you're probably wondering, okay, well, what am I supposed to write here? 6 times as many as 18. So these can get a little wordy, but really it's the same thought process you went through up here. So if you knew this right away, then you should be feeling pretty confident. If you did that multiplication, you would find that Katie has a total of 108 nickels. Let's move over and look at question number 5. Kyle has watched 238 movies. Jason has watched 49 more movies than Kyle. So what we're comparing here is the number of movies that these two friends have watched, Kyle and Jason. That's step 1. Step 2, try to figure out who watched more. Kyle has watched 238. Jason has watched 49 more than Kyle. So Jason has watched more movies. So to me, that kind of sounds like it's not times as many. It's 49 more than Kyle. So if I know Kyle watched 238 and Jason watched 49 more, then I am adding. This unknown should tell me then how many Jason watched. Let's look at the question and make sure that's what they're looking for. It says let m, so a variable, equal the number of movies that Jason has watched. So that is what they're looking for. So what I could say is m is exactly what we did here. 49 more than 238. 49 more than 238. Now, maybe you wrote something different here. Maybe you wrote down 238 plus 49. That is okay. As long as you knew that to solve for Jason, you would have to add those two amounts, then you did this problem correctly. If you added these two numbers together, you would find a total of 287 movies. Number 6. Amber tied 89 knots to make I think you pronounced that macrame wall hanging. Hunter tied 3 times as many knots. These problems tend to get kind of interesting, what we're comparing. So we're comparing the number of knots that they've tied, and we're looking at Amber and Hunter. So now I want to think, okay, who tied more? Was it Amber or was it Hunter? Look at the problem, think to yourself. Right, Hunter's the one who tied more because he tied 3 times as many as Amber. So what we have here is a multiplication problem of the number of knots Amber tied, which was 89. And we know that to solve for Hunter, We would have to multiply by 3 because he tied 3 times as many. Now let's look. What variable do they want to use? K, I guess for knots. Let K equal the number of knots that Hunter tied. So then down here, basically what you're doing is telling me what you have written here. K is 3 times as many as 89. When you do that multiplication, 89 multiplied by 3, you would get a total of 267. Hunter must really like tying knots, and I bet his fingers are pretty sore. Number 7. I told you these get kind of weird. Tia sells 292 newspapers. Okay. So we're comparing Tia to, I guess, her friend Tess. We are comparing the number of newspapers that these 2 ladies sold. So now let's look at the problem. Tia sells 292. Tess sells 117 more than Tia. To me, that sounds like an addition problem of 292 plus 117. She didn't sell 100 times as many. She sold 117 more than Tia. So now we need to let n represent the number of papers that Tess sold, so equal to n. So then if we're going to write this in words, n equals 117, kind of reminds me of this one right here, more than 292. When you do that addition, you would find that Tess sold a total of 409 newspapers. Good job, Tess. You beat Tia. Let's look at number 8. Trent has 48 markers. Sharon has 8 markers. Then they just give you some blanks. Okay, so now they've told you the total that each friend has. We're comparing Trent to Sharon. Trent, they told us, has a total of 48, and Sharon has a total of 8. So you need to look and think who has more. Clearly Trent. And now look at those 2 numbers. What relationship can you think of using the number 48 and 8? A lot of you know that 6 times 8 is 48, so maybe that's what you're thinking in your brain. So I could say that Trent has 6 times as many markers as Sharon. Trent has 6 times as many. I'm just going to squeeze it in there. I should write as Sharon, but I'm not going to. Number 9, Lucy has 317 bottles. Craig has 82. We're comparing the bottles that Lucy has to the number of bottles Craig has. And we found Lucy has 317. Craig has 82. Who has more? Lucy. Hopefully this is getting a little bit easier. So now we need to compare. I don't know that I can multiply here. I don't know about that as far as a relationship. 82 multiplied by a certain number. I'm not really sure. But what I could do, if I just need to give a relationship between these 2 to compare them, then I could subtract 317 minus 82. And when I do that subtraction, I would find out that Lucy has 235 more bottles than Craig. I'm just going to put more than Craig. I'm trying to squeeze this in here so you guys can read it. Excellent. Let's take a look at the back. We had a couple problems back here. Number 10, so we're looking at some word problems. Roger swam 19 laps in the pool. Anna swam 4 times as many laps as Roger. All right, we're comparing Roger to Anna. Oh, Anna Maria. Look at that. Now we need to look and see and go back and think, okay, how many did Roger swim? 19. How many did Anna Maria swim? 4 times as many as Roger. So we're comparing using multiplication. You're right. That is 19 multiplied by 4 is equal to, who knows? How many laps did Anna Maria swim? So now we have to solve for the number Anna Maria swims. Draw a bar diagram and write an equation to solve the problem. What they mean by a bar diagram is that, let's say here's Roger, and we know he swam 19 laps. So now if we want to compare Anna Maria, she swam 4 times as many. So that'd be 19, and we need to do that 4 times. 2, 3, and 4. Looks like repeated addition, which you know is the same as multiplication. You could write that equation of 19 multiplied by 4, and when you do that multiplication, you would find out that Anna Maria swam 76 laps. Number 11, moving right along. Nina says the equation 600 is equal to 12 times 50. Means that 600 is 12 times as many as 50. When you see this language right here, 12 times as many, that just means you're putting a multiplication symbol. Is means you can replace that with an equal sign. So 2 things here. 600 is 12 times as many. So that would read 600 is, or equal to, 12 times as many as 50. That looks correct. 600 equals 12 times 50. So Nina is correct. Now let's look here. Julio. All right. What does Julio say? 600 is, there's that equal sign. 600 is 50 times as many as 12. So he's saying 50 times as many as 12. 50, remember the X says times as many as 12. So is this correct? Yes. So Julio and Nina are both correct, and they're both correct because we know that the commutative property tells us we can change these 2 factors. We will still get the same answer. So both, and we know that because of the commutative property. That's a term you learned in 3rd grade when you started multiplying. Number 12, 2 more to go. Oh, this was an easy one. The amount that is left after dividing a number into equal parts is called, so they're referring to this guy right here, and you know that's the remainder. And when you look, 13 divided by 4, so how did they get 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's the counters. And then 4 would be 1, 2, 3, 4 equal groups they divided into. So the number that we need to look at, the quotient, would refer to how many are in a group, 3, and then are there any remaining? Remainder 1. That's how you record your answer. 13, last one. A shirt is on sale for $D. All right, we got a shirt going on sale. Cool. Regular price is 4 times as much. Todd has enough money to buy 2 shirts at the regular price. How many shirts can Todd buy at the sale price? All right, so he can buy 2 at regular price, right? But we know that the shirts are on sale, and at regular price, they are 4 times as much. So if he can buy 2 at the regular price, then we would multiply by 4 to find out that on sale, he can buy 8 shirts total. Again, 2 at regular price, they're on sale for 4 times as much, so we're going to multiply to get 8 shirts in all. Great job today on comparisons. We will continue comparisons for quite a while, actually. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this, but it's something that we will revisit later. So if you have any questions, please let me know, and just keep in mind we will continue working on this. Great job.